Good morning. Today we're going to be taking a look at pages 75 and 76 in your workbook. So go ahead and get your workbook, paper, and a pencil. Take notes as we go through each problem. Okay, question number 21. It says, without multiplying, classify each product as being less than 3/5, equal to 3/5, or greater than 3/5. So if I multiply 3/5 times a fraction that's smaller than one whole, so for example, 1/2 is smaller than one whole. Think of it as like pies. 1/2 of a pie is smaller than one whole of a pie. It's going to give me an answer that's smaller than 3/5. If I multiply it by a number that's bigger than one whole, so for example, 5/4, when the top number is bigger, it's bigger than one whole, then my answer is going to be greater than 3/5. And then if I multiply by a number that's equal to one whole, like 7/7, anytime the top number and the bottom number are the same, it's going to be equal to one whole. Whenever I multiply by 1, remember it's going to be equal to 3/5. So put your letters A, B, C, D in the correct box. For question number 22, you're going to draw a line plot. This is a line plot. It's a number line. And notice that the fractions are eighths and fourths. So the first thing I did was I drew a number line. So draw this on your paper or in your workbook. And I went from 0 to 1. And then I counted by eighths. 1/8, 2/8, 3/8. 1/8 is the same thing as 8/8. The second thing I did was reduce them to fourths. So 2/8 if I divide by 2 is 1/4. 4/8 if I divide by 4 is 1/2. And 6/8 if I divide by 2 is going to give me 3/4. So 2/8 is equivalent or equal to 1/4. 4/8 is equivalent or equal to 1/2. And 6/8 is equivalent or equal to 3/4. So the first thing I did was draw my number line. Because my fractions are eighths and fourths, I wanted to number eighths first and then fourths on the bottom. Now I'm going to put a dot above each one where they would go on the number line. So the first one is 1/8, so I'm going to put my first dot right here over 1/8. My second one is 1/4, so I'm going to put my next dot over 1/4. My third dot is 1/4, so I'm going to put a second dot above 1/4. And you're going to put dots for each of these above the number line. The second step says, what is the average weight of the bags? To find the average, you have to add up all of these fractions and then divide by how many points there are. So there's a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. There's 16. So you're going to add all of these numbers up and then divide by 16. Remember, you're dividing by 16 over 1, so you're multiplying by 1 over 16. And that's how you find the average. In order to add all these up, I would change them all to eighths. All the fourths, change them to eighths. And you can do that. You don't even have to change them. You can look at it where it is. So 2/8 is above 1/4. So if it says 1/4, write down 2/8. Finish all of 22 before you go to 23. Question 23. Remember, you're counting the squares to get the volume. So count how many are in the front, and then multiply that by 2 because there's another set behind. On this bottom one, there's no second row, so you're just counting how many blocks you see. 24. You need to just check it. So take 1/6 divided by 2 over 1. Remember to circle your second fraction, flip your second fraction, and multiply. Do that for each one. Remember, when you're dividing fractions, change all numbers to fractions. Circle the second fraction, flip the second fraction, change it to multiplying. Solve each of those before you go to the number 25. Okay, question number 25. It says a shipping container holds 36 shoe boxes. The dimensions of a shoe box are 4 inches by 5 inches by 8 inches. So remember, we're doing volume. Volume, you're going to multiply length times width times height. So 4 times 5 times 8 is going to give me the volume of one shoebox. So 4 times 5 times 8 on your scratch paper gives me the volume of one shoebox. Then you're going to take that answer, multiply it by 36 to see what the volume is of this shipping container. Get that information first before you try and answer the questions. So A says each shoebox has a volume of 160. Check it. 4 times 5 times 8, see if you get 160. For B, it says each container has a volume of 5,000 cubic inches. So take your volume from A, multiply it by 36 to see if you get 5,000 for B. And then for part C, if a container holds 46 shoe boxes, is the volume 7360? So take your answer from A, whatever you got for the volume of one shoebox, by taking 4 times 5 times 8. Take that answer, multiply it by 46 to see if you get 7360. Question 26. Daryl used 1 centimeter cubes to build the rectangular prism shown. Find the volume. So again, length times width times height to get the volume. For question 27, it says Marcia packed 1-inch cubes into a box with a volume of 36 cubic inches. How many layers of 1-inch cube boxes did she pack? So count how many cubes are in this bottom layer, and then take 36 divided by this number of cubes to get your answer. So 36 divided by how many cubes here? Question 28. Kristen drew a triangle with 3 congruent sides and 3 congruent angles. Which term accurately describes the triangle? And you should have 2 answers here. What do you call a triangle with 3 equal sides? And then what do you call a triangle that has 3 equal angles? Draw a picture to help you. If you have any questions, email me. Have a great day. Oh, no, let's go on to the answers, see how you did. Make sure you've done all the work first. Okay, question 21. So again, when I multiply by 1/2, that's less than 3/5. When I multiply by 5/4, because that's more than 1 whole, your answer is going to be more than 3/5. And when I multiply by 3/1, again, that's more than 3/5. When I multiply by 2, that's more than 3/5, because all of these numbers right here, 5/4, 3/1, and 2 are greater than 1 whole, so your answer is going to be greater than 1 whole. 7/7 is equal to 1 whole, so when I multiply 3/5 times 7/7, it's going to be equal to 3/5. So here is my line plot. I put a dot for each of those fractions listed. Then I added up all the fractions. I changed them all to eighths, and I added them up, and I got 32/8. Now you divide by 16, so 32/8 times 1/16. Make sure you cross cancel, and you get 1/4 as your answer. Question number 23. 12 cubes and 10 cubes for question number 23. Let's take a look at question 24. On question 24, we have 1/6 divided by 2. So 1/6 times 1/2 is 1/12, so that's a no. 1/3 divided by 8. So 1/3 times 1/8 is 1/24, so that's a yes. And then C, 4/1 times 1/7, divided by 1/7 is 4/1 times 7/1, which is 28. So that's a yes. Question 25. 1 shoebox, length times width times height. 4 times 5 is 20, times 8 is 160. That's 1 shoebox. Then I take that number and multiply it by 36 to get the volume of the whole container, and I get 5760. So A is a yes, B is a no. And then C, you take the 160 for 1 shoebox, multiply it by 46 shoeboxes, and you do get 7360, so that's a yes. Let's take a look at question 26. Okay, question 26, the volume is 5 times 2 is 10, times 4 is 40. And then 27, there's 12 cubes in that first layer, so 36 divided by 12, you're going to have 3 layers of cubes. And then 28, A is correct, it would be an equilateral triangle, and C is correct, it would be an acute triangle. If you have any questions, please email me. Have a great day.